We, the members of the Polk County Sheriff's Office, are committed to excellence in providing law enforcement, detention, and public safety services. In partnership with our community, we will serve with integrity, compassion, accountability, and professionalism. October 10, 2023. 6 suspects arrested during Operation Child Protector 4. Focusing on online solicitation of minors. Beginning September 19, 2023, Polk County Sheriff's Office, Lakeland Police Department, Haines City Police Department, Tampa Police Department, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, Lake County Sheriff's Office, and Orange County Sheriff's Office detectives conducted a 7-day-long undercover operation. Operation Child Protector 4, during which detectives posed as children or guardians of children on social media platforms, mobile apps, and online dating sites to investigate those who prey upon and travel to meet children for unlawful sexual activity. The suspects communicated with and solicited who they thought were children or guardians online. 6 suspects showed up to an undercover location in Polk County at separate times to sexually batter children. 3 of the 6 suspects wanted to pay an adult hundreds of dollars to have sex with who they thought was a child. Those 3 were charged with human trafficking, a life felony. 3 of the suspects brought condoms to the undercover location, 3 told detectives they are married, and 3 have children. They were all from the Central Florida area. In all, detectives filed 22 felony charges against the suspects. Suspects arrested. Number 1. 40-year-old Jairo Muniz of Kissimmee, Florida. Muniz engaged in an online conversation on a social networking site and via cell phone with an undercover detective who was posing as a 13-year-old girl. He asked several questions about her sexual experience and described the sex acts he wanted to do to her. He stopped and bought condoms on the way. He sent a nude photo of himself to the girl. He told detectives that he is married and has 4 daughters between the ages of 9 and 16 years old. He said he is a laborer at a scaffolding company, and that he told his boss he was going to be late to work the day he traveled to meet the child for sex. Muniz was booked into the Polk County Jail and charged with 1 count traveling to meet a minor for sex, F2. 1 count attempted lewd battery, F3. 1 count transmission of material harmful to minor, F3. 1 count use of two-way communication device to commit a felony, F3. He was released from jail on September 24, 2023, after posting bond. Number 2. 36-year-old Timothy Wellman of Ohio, recently moved to Polk. Wellman engaged in an online conversation on a social networking site and via cell phone with an undercover detective who was posing as a 14-year-old girl. He told her she was cute and described the sex acts he wanted to do to her. He told detectives that he is divorced and his 2 kids, ages 5 and 6, live with his ex-wife in Kentucky. He said he was talking to his children on the phone and telling them good night when he was driving to the undercover location. He said that he is an Army veteran using his GI Bill for college. Wellman was booked into the Polk County Jail and charged with 1 count traveling to meet a minor for sex, F2. 1 count attempted lewd battery, F3. 1 count use of two-way communication device to commit a felony, F3. Number 3. 49-year-old Faraz Klisla of Davenport, Florida. Klisla engaged in an online conversation on a social networking site and via cell phone with an undercover detective who was posing as a 14-year-old girl. He asked her if she was a virgin and described the sex acts he wanted to do to her. He told detectives that he is married with 2 adult children, and that he is an Uber driver. Klisla was booked into the Polk County Jail and charged with 1 count traveling to meet a minor for sex, F2. 1 count attempted lewd battery, F3. 1 count use of two-way communication device to commit a felony, F3. He was released from jail on September 24, 2023, after posting bond. Number 4. 46-year-old Douglas Da Silva of Windermere, Florida. Da Silva engaged in an online conversation on a social networking site and via cell phone with an undercover detective who was posing as an adult who had access to a 15-year-old female child. He asked her if the girl was a virgin and told her he wanted to have sex with her twice within an hour. He agreed to pay her $250 to have unprotected sex with the child. He told detectives that he is an Uber Eats driver, is married, and that he and his wife own a house cleaning business. He said he has been in the U.S. for 4 years and is awaiting confirmation of his green card. De Silva was booked into the Polk County Jail and charged with 1 count human trafficking, F1. 1 count traveling to meet a minor for sex, F2. 1 count use of computer to solicit guardian of child for sex, F3. 1 count use of two-way communication device to commit a felony, F3. Number 5. 33-year-old Trevor Walker of Orlando, Florida. Walker engaged in an online conversation on a social networking site and via cell phone with an undercover detective who was posing as an adult who had access to a 15-year-old female child. He said he wanted to go hard and agreed to pay her $400 to have unprotected sex with the child for 3 hours. He mentioned this being a sting with Grady Judd during their conversations. He told detectives that he works at Publix distribution in Orlando. Walker was booked into the Polk County Jail and charged with 1 count human trafficking, F1. 1 count traveling to meet a minor for sex, F2. 1 count use of computer to solicit guardian of child for sex, F3. 1 count use of two-way communication device to commit a felony, F3. Number 6. 26-year-old Douglas Cooley of Apopka, Florida. Cooley engaged in an online conversation on a social networking site and via cell phone with an undercover detective who was posing as an adult who had access to a 15-year-old female child. He agreed to pay her $100 to have protected sex with the child for half an hour, and an additional $50 for unprotected sex. He works at the Clay Springs Elementary School after-school daycare in Apopka. Cooley was booked into the Polk County Jail and charged with 1 count human trafficking, F1. 1 count traveling to meet a minor for sex, F2. 1 count use of computer to solicit guardian of child for sex, F3. 1 count use of two-way communication device to commit a felony, F3. October 20, 2023. PCSO's Operation Gangs and Guns busts Lakeland gang for gun thefts and 38 car burglaries. 6 gang members who committed at least 38 car burglaries south of Lakeland, with the intent of stealing firearms for gun running, have been arrested by detectives from the Polk County Sheriff's Office. The burglaries and thefts of 7 firearms occurred over 3 nights in 4 different South Lakeland neighborhoods. March 11, 2023 in Reflections West, 13 car burglaries. May 26, 2023 in Christina Oaks, 11 car burglaries. May 28, 2023 in Highlands Crossing and Mission Hills, 14 burglaries. These burglaries were committed by gang members with the sole purpose to steal guns. They specifically targeted vehicles that were most likely to have firearms within them, often looking for window and bumper stickers with pro-gun messages. This is a very bad group of criminals who intended to steal guns to be used for even more crime. Grady Judd, Sheriff. Many of the burglaries were to locked vehicles and the suspects forced entry using a window punch to smash car windows. Because the suspects were primarily focused on stealing guns, they ransacked some vehicles without taking other valuables. So far, 2 of the 7 stolen firearms have been recovered. All 6 suspects are documented gang members and 4 of the 6 suspects have gang enhancement penalties on their charges. The PCSO is not identifying the name of the gang. The arrested gang members are Kingston Pringle, 17, of Bartow, charged with directing activities of a criminal gang, F1. Armed burglary of conveyance, F1, 2 counts. Possession of a machine gun, F2. Burglary of conveyance, F3, 19 counts. Attempted burglary of conveyance, F3, 12 counts. Grand theft, F3, 3 counts. Improper exhibition of a firearm, M1. Contributing to delinquency of a minor, M1, 3 counts. Criminal mischief, M1, 24 counts. Possession of firearm by minor, M1, 2 counts. Culpable negligence exposed to harm, M2, 3 counts. And petty theft, M2, 4 counts. There is a total of 75 charges with a gang enhancement. The State Attorney Office 10th Judicial Circuit will be prosecuting Pringle as an adult on these charges. Pringle has prior arrests for residential burglary, conveyance burglaries, and grand theft. Eldred Kellum, Jr., 23, of Lakeland, charged with Directing activities of a criminal gang, F1. Armed burglary of conveyance, F1, 2 counts. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon, F2. Felony petty theft, F3, 4 counts. Burglary of conveyance, F3, 18 counts. Attempted burglary of conveyance, F3, 12 counts. Grand theft of firearm, F3. Grand theft, F3, 2 counts. And criminal mischief, M2, 21 counts. There is a total of 63 charges with a gang enhancement. Kellum and Pringle coordinated the burglaries. And the two of them carried out the Christina Oaks burglaries themselves. Kellum's prior criminal history includes burglary, theft, VOP, robbery, trespassing on school grounds, vehicle theft, dealing in stolen property, resisting an officer, criminal mischief. DeAndre Guilford, 22, of Bartow. Guilford has been charged by Bartow PD with carrying concealed firearm, a firearm that was stolen during one of the PCSO cases, and a warrant arrest for failure to appear DWLSR. Guilford has had previous arrests for carrying concealed weapon. False info to Leo, possession of marijuana and carrying a concealed firearm. Torian Sumrall, 22, of Bartow. Charged with directing activities of a criminal gang, F1. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon, F2. Grand theft, F3. Possession of MDMA, F3. Possession of fentanyl, F3. Possession of amphetamine, F3. Possession of drug paraphernalia, M1. And DWLSR, M2. There is a total of 8 charges with a gang enhancement. Sumrall's primary role was to coordinate the selling of the stolen firearms. Sumrall has been previously arrested for carrying concealed weapon. False name to Leo, obstructing law enforcement. Possession of weapon, resisting Leo without violence, violation of probation and robbery. Javian Sterling, 19, of Lakeland. Charged with burglary of conveyance, F3, 11 counts. Attempted burglary of conveyance, F3, 10 counts. Grand theft of firearm, F3, 2 counts. Grand theft, F3. Tampering with evidence, F3. Criminal mischief, M1, 14 counts. And petty theft, M2, 2 counts. There is a total of 40 charges with a gang enhancement. Sterling was recruited by Pringle to be the driver for the group during the burglaries at Highlands Crossing and Mission Hills. Eric Denson, 18, of Riverview. Denson was the driver during the Reflections West burglaries. He was charged by the PCSO with carrying a concealed weapon, F3. Possession of marijuana, M1. And possession of drug paraphernalia, M1. While in the Polk County Jail, Denson was found to be in possession of a knife-like weapon known as a shiv, for which he was charged with introduction of contraband to the jail, F3. He is also facing charged by the Lakeland Police Department for attempted murder in the first degree, 3 counts, and shooting into a dwelling. During the course of the investigation, PCSO detectives discovered a disturbing video on Pringle's cell phone in which Pringle was pointing and mock-firing a Glock handgun at 3 juveniles, one as young as 17 months old. The Glock had been modified into an automatic firearm and had an extended magazine inserted, and Pringle was using the laser sight to point the gun directly at the juveniles. Some of Pringle's prior mentioned charges stem from this video. Equality before the law, also known as equality under the law. Equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality, or legal egalitarianism, is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law. The rule of law is a political ideal that all citizens and institutions within a country, state, or community are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and leaders. It is sometimes stated simply as no one is above the law.